Logan Paul once told millions of his fans to buy into a Pokemon-style NFT game that he personally guaranteed would quote, make you money. He raised millions of dollars, but the game never came out. The art was stock photos, and by the time anyone realized what had happened, the people who got in early, including his own co-founders, had already cashed out and left everyone else holding NFTs of cartoon animals worth basically zero. That project was called Crypto Zoo, and it ran into a federal law that exists for one specific reason: to stop celebrities from doing exactly what Logan Paul allegedly did. Here's how it works. The Securities and Exchange Commission, or the SEC, has a rule called Section 17B of the Securities Act. In plain English, if you're a public figure and someone pays you to promote a financial product, you have to tell people you're being paid. You can't just pretend you found this amazing new investment opportunity by accident and want your fans to enjoy the ride. That's called fraud. The Crypto Zoo case got messier than that though. A federal judge in Texas eventually dismissed the class action lawsuit against Paul in late 2025, ruling that his promises about the game were what's called puffery, exaggerated marketing that no reasonable person should rely on. So legally, he walked out safe, but not before personally putting up $2.3 million to buy back NFTs from anyone who agreed not to sue him. Let's rewind that. He paid millions of dollars in refunds to people who promised in writing that they wouldn't take him to court. That's not what an innocent person typically does. And here's the thing, Logan Paul isn't even the only brother who got caught up in this kind of thing. Next up, Faze Clan. In June 2021, 4 members of Faze Clan, at that time one of the biggest gaming organizations in the world, promoted a cryptocurrency to their combined audience of millions of fans. The coin was called Save the Kids. Yep, that was the actual name. The pitch was that a percentage of every transaction would go to children's charity, and the influencers leaned hard on that. They called it a chance to do good. They told their fans this was about helping people. Within minutes of the coin launching, it crashed by almost 90%. A YouTuber named CoffeeZilla pulled their receipts. He tracked the blockchain wallets and found that several of the Faze members and their friends had bought the coin before it was available to the public, then sold their entire stash within the first 60 seconds to launch. Yep, 1 minute, like a speedrun. The coin had a built-in protection mechanisms that was supposed to stop big holders from selling too fast, and someone had quietly changed it the day before launch to let exactly that happen. This is what's called a pump and dump. You hype something up to inflate the price, then dump your holding on the people you just convinced to buy in. It's been illegal under US securities law since the 1930s. The Faze member known as K was permanently removed from the organization. 3 others were suspended. Save the Kids was eventually worth a fraction of a penny. The kids the coin was supposedly saving? Most of those kids were the ones who bought it. In March 2023, the Securities and Exchange Commission formally charged Jake Paul with illegally promoting a cryptocurrency called Tronix without disclosing that he'd been paid to do it. He'd posted a single tweet promoting the coin to his 3.8 million followers at that time. According to the SEC, he was paid about $25,000 worth of crypto for that one tweet. The kicker, the people behind the project specifically told him not to disclose that he was being paid. That's the part the SEC really cares about. Jake Paul settled. He didn't admit to guilt, but he agreed to pay over $100,000 in penalties and disgorgement. That word, disgorgement, is just legal speak for give back the money you made from doing the thing. So in his case, the SEC said, you made 25 grand from this tweet, you're paying us back 4 times that, and you're not doing it again. 8 celebrities got hit in the same SEC case. Lindsay Lohan, Akon, Soulja Boy, Lil Yachty. The federal government basically lined up a row of household names and made an example of them. And the rule they all broke is one of the most basic in finance. When you promote something, you have to disclose you're being paid. It exists because regulators figured out a long time ago that if a celebrity you trust says buy this, you'll probably buy it, especially if you don't know they're getting paid to say it. Quick pause, I'm the Law Guy, and on this channel we break down the legal system so you don't have to. If that sounds like your thing, hit subscribe. Now back to it. If you've watched a streamer in the last 3 years, you've probably seen this logo. Stake is a crypto-based online casino. Drake promotes it, Adin promotes it, they go live on Kick and gamble enormous sums of money in front of millions of viewers. And in 2025 and 2026, multiple class action lawsuits started landing against all of them. Here's the legal mess. In most US states, online casino gambling is illegal, so Stake operates what's called a sweepstakes casino model. They sell you gold coins for play money, and they throw in something called stake cash as a bonus. The stake cash can be redeemed for actual money. Plaintiffs are arguing this is a fig leaf, that the whole gold coin thing exists to hide what's really going on, which is real money gambling in states where real money gambling is illegal. The lawsuits gets worse though. They allege that Drake and Adin weren't always wagering their own money during those huge live streams. According to the complaints, Stake gave them what's called house money, funds provided by the casino itself, without ever telling the viewers that's what's happening. So you've got millions of people, many of them young, watching a guy seemingly risk hundreds of thousands of his own dollars and walk away rich, and it might not have been his money at all. One lawsuit was filed by a kid who says he started gambling on stake when he was 13. 13 years old. He says he found stake through live streams, and the lawsuit accuses the platform of using influencers marketing to specifically target kids who can legally gamble. This isn't just a they should disclose better situation. The legal claims include fraud, racketeering, and violation of state gambling laws. By the way, racketeering is the law they use on the mafia. That's not a charge you take lightly. Now let's talk about the biggest YouTuber on the planet, MrBeast. Insert song please.
MrBeast, Reese, MrBeast, yes, Reese.
Jimmy Donaldson has 479 million subscribers as of this recording. He just acquired a fintech company. He's worth $1 billion. And in 2024, 5 contestants from his Amazon Prime show Beast Games filed a class action lawsuit against him. The allegations are brutal: inadequate food, lack of medical care, sexual harassment on set, contestants weren't paid, and the lawsuits also claims contestants were pressured to sign illegal contracts and submit false paperwork to help the production grab Nevada tax credits. 6 contestants are now part of that case. In April 2026, a former employee filed a separate lawsuit. She alleges that the MrBeast workplace was a frat house, that she was harassed for years, that when she came back from maternity leave, she was fired 3 weeks later after being made to take a phone meeting while she was actually in labor, like the day she gave birth. The laws here are the Family and Medical Leave Act, Title 7 of the Civil Rights Act, and various state employment laws. These are the laws that says you can't fire someone for being pregnant, you can't sexually harass employees, you can't retaliate against someone for complaining. They exist because before they existed, this kind of thing was just what happened. Now it's the basis for federal lawsuits. MrBeast denies all of it. The case is still ongoing, but there's a pattern here that's hard to ignore. The bigger the operation, the bigger the gap between the public-facing brand and what's allegedly happening behind the camera. And speaking of gaps between public image and reality, Andrew Tate is one of the most followed online personalities in the world. He built his entire brand on telling young men how to be successful, dominant, and be alpha. In December 2022, Romanian authorities arrested him, his brother Tristan, and 2 associates. The charges: human trafficking, rape, and forming an organized crime group to sexually exploit women. The investigation centers on a property the Tate brothers owned outside Bucharest. Romanian authorities say women were brought there, controlled through threats and violence, and forced to perform on webcam to make money for the organization. In 2024, prosecutors expanded the case to include trafficking minors, sex with a minor, and money laundering. Romanian prosecutors say the brothers' alleged operation generated $2.8 million from sexual exploitation. In May 2025, the United Kingdom's Crown Prosecution Service brought 21 separate charges against the Tates. Those include rape, actual bodily harm, and human trafficking. The UK is waiting in line to extradite them once the Romanian cases finish. Tate denies everything. He calls it lawfare. His Romanian travel ban was lifted in early 2025 and is now back in Florida, but 6 separate legal investigations across 3 countries are still active. Which brings us to the streamer whose entire empire was burned to the ground in a single tweet. DrDisrespect, real name Guy Beam, was the self-proclaimed face of Twitch. He had 4 million followers, a 2-year exclusivity deal worth millions, a character so iconic he had partnerships with Mountain Dew, the NFL, and 2K Sports. In June 2020, Twitch banned him without explanation. He sued, they settled, he moved to YouTube, and for 4 years, nobody outside Twitch's legal team knew why. Then in June 2024, a former Twitch employee tweeted the reason. He said Beam had been caught using Twitch's private messaging feature to send sexually explicit messages to a minor in 2017. He said Beam had also discussed meeting up with that minor at TwitchCon, Twitch's annual convention. Bloomberg confirmed the report to a second former Twitch employee. The story exploded. Within days, Beam's own game studio fired him. The NFL cut ties. 2K Sports removed his character from their video games, and Mountain Dew was gone. And for the cherry on top, YouTube demonetized his channel. Then in a long statement on X, DrDisrespect admitted it. He confirmed there were Twitch messages with a minor in 2017. He said the conversation sometimes leaned too much in the direction of being inappropriate. He said he had no real intentions, never met the person, and that what he did wasn't illegal. The law that applies here is layered. There's no allegation he was criminally charged, but what he admitted to could potentially fall under federal laws against communicating with minors for inappropriate purposes, depending on what was actually said. Those laws carry years in federal prison. The reason this never became a criminal case appears to be that Twitch handled it internally. They paid out his contract, made him sign a settlement, and tried to make it go away quietly. That's the part that should bother everyone watching. The most watched streamer on the biggest streaming platform in the world admitted in his own words to sending inappropriate messages to a minor, and the only consequences was losing some sponsorships. No charges, no registry. He's still streaming, by the way, just on a different platform. platform. Every story in this video involves a streamer who built their brand on being trustworthy, charismatic, or larger than life, and every single one of them ended up on the wrong side of law that exists for a very specific reason: to stop powerful people from using their reach to take advantage of the people watching them. The streamers or influencers in this video either broke those laws or accused of breaking them, and most of them faced consequences. If you want to see the laws in your own state that are somehow still on the books, I just dropped a video on exactly that. Some of them will generally make you question how they ever got passed in the first place. Click that next.